Hey guys, what's up? Getting a little bit restless, and I needed something to do with my hands, some kind of creative outlet. So I've got this iPad charger cable, which I am decorating with some decorative thread, some embroidery thread. Um, you can get these like these little plastic coils to protect your yeah. They sell these here in Bangkok, these little plastic, like cable sort of sheaths, and then you can get them in different colours. So I kind of create like a funky sort of tribal design on this one, but they're made out of plastic, and we've reached peak oil, so it's not very ethical. So I had some of this thread, which actually took off a crochet bikini that I bought here in Bangkok, and the fit wasn't very good, so I kind of unraveled it and kind of recrocheted it to a fit that I liked. And so I just had this thread hanging around. So I thought, what a perfect way to keep my hands busy on quiet evenings. Um, so I'm just doing a little like friendship bracelet type knot around the whole cable. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the importance of having a creative outlet and just creativity in general. Um, I kind of used to be off the belief that, you know, if you're a creative person, then, you create stuff, and then there's other people who are kind of scientific and they're not so creative. But actually, I've come to the realization that we are all creators and we all have to have a creative outlet. Um, I don't know how much, any of you believe in this idea that we are all co-creators in our reality, and this world that we live in is pure creation. It's pure creation of all our thought forms. Anything that we, can think and visualize, we can then manifest into reality, and that's what we do. We do that. Anything that's kind of created, from like, a car to a building to a dress that you would wear, or a TV commercial, anything started as a visualization in somebody's head. So I think it's really, really important for everybody to find um, their kind of creative outlet, and what they enjoy doing. It could be anything from kind of, getting a djembe and an acoustic guitar and just jamming with your friends, or, like what myself and my friends do is sometimes we get together and, we just create a photo shoot together. One of my best friends, he used to be a fashion photographer, and he still does fashion photography, but he works primarily as a model now. But sometimes we'll just go to his house and just create. Like, I'll model and he'll photograph, or I'll do the styling and then he'll photograph one of our other friends. And those pictures have, gone in our portfolios. They help us get work. We just worked on a project recently with another photographer friend of mine, and that got picked up by a magazine. So yeah, I think it's important, for no matter what your main line of work is, what your livelihood is, um, just to have something outside of that where you can kind of express yourself, whether that be writing or cooking, or, for me right now, like, I kind of miss having a creative outlet while I'm traveling. When I was back in London, my main creative outlet was designing clothes. I would draft the patterns for them. I taught myself how to do that. I taught myself how to sew, so I could make, I could even make lingerie. Like, my sewing skills were pretty good. And I would make clothes mainly for myself, sometimes for friends, if they were nice. I might make them a little something. Um, but yeah, I really miss that, being, on the road all the time and living out of a suitcase. I don't have my sewing machine here. I don't have my pattern drafting table, or my big giant roll of paper with which I can draft patterns for like dresses and suits and God knows what. So right now it's this, which is kind of a very, very poor substitute, but it will do for now. Yeah, I think the reason why creativity is so important is because when you are doing something that you really love and you're creating, firstly, it's very meditative. It's kind of one of those things like when, for example, when I'm like knotting this thread, you know, thoughts come into my head just like they do when you're meditating. But then you just kind of bring your attention back to the knotting, and you're connecting to that source energy where ideas just come. And it's strange, but I've spoken to this with a lot of my friends who work as designers, you know, in fashion or graphics. Sometimes they say when they're in flow and when they're really, really kind of getting into it, ideas will just come to them like a vision. It's almost like they're remote viewing their creation from a future timeline. One of my friends who's a fashion designer says that sometimes he just gets visions where he'll imagine an entire fragrance campaign, for example, and you know, he doesn't work in branding, but he'll just get the vision and then he'll storyboard it all out, and he doesn't know where it comes from. Okay, I realise I'm umming and ahhing a lot because words are coming to me as inspiration strikes, and I'm pussyfooting around them because I don't want to alienate certain viewers with some of my ideas. I'm trying to explain it in kind of a three-dimensional way that everybody can understand. But I'm sorry, like I'm just going to speak a bit more authentically now, and if that alienates some people, then so be it. Back to this idea of being in flow and this divine spark that comes when you're really, really in the zone. Yeah, it's almost like when you're doing what you love, you're connecting to that higher part of yourself where the ideas can come through from. So that's how you're able to visualize what it is you're trying to create, because it's almost like you're seeing that which already exists, but just, you know, in another dimension or in the future or something like that. So it really is, you know, connecting to that higher power. And that's kind of the only way to really bring your gifts into the world. It's to do what you love and to use your gifts and to use your passions and your talents to create that which you love and to share that love with the world. I think it's not even necessary for you to kind of try and make that creative outlet something that you monetize. I think that's misguided and it's not necessary, and it's a mistake that I made for many years, thinking that I had to try and like create something that I could then sell. So I tried to kind of launch a lingerie label for a while, and I think, you know, sometimes because we live in a consumer-driven society, that's a mistake that people make, and then a lot of people kind of get corporate jobs and they end up, you know, selling out, and they kind of lose their creativity. But you know, if you have, you know, a 9-to-5 job, don't lose that creativity. You should always try and make time for your hobbies, basically, because they're what is going to keep your soul alive. I mean, I personally find that when, you know, I love modeling because it's so creative, but when I'm shooting catalogue after catalogue after catalogue, sometimes my soul starts to wither up and die. So that's when it's really, really great when a stylist or a photographer that I've met through, you know, doing these more commercial jobs says, I want to create something really beautiful with you. None of us are going to get paid. We might even have to spend money on doing it, but we get to do whatever we want. And that's when you really, like, you feel energized. I remember the last test shoot I did with one of my favorite stylists here in Bangkok. And they were shooting three projects that day. They were shooting a women's catalogue, a menswear editorial, and then they were doing a test shoot with me. And we started at 7 p.m. and we finished at 4 a.m. And they went straight from the studio or the location that we were shooting in to another job. And I just said, how are you managing to stay awake? And they were like, because we feel so energized by what we're doing, you know. And I think the photographer put it wisely when he said, fashion is passion. You know, like when you're doing what you love, that gives you energy. It's really uplifting. And for me personally, when I'm in that space where, you know, even though I'm not getting paid, but you know, we're creating something really beautiful. It really, that's why I do this job. You know, the commercial jobs, sometimes they can be great and they can be really creative and really fun, but I do them so that I can then do, you know, the magazine editorials and the test shoots that I don't get paid for, because I really love those. And I just want to say to people out there that it's, you know, it's really important to create whether you can sell your creation or not. You know, whether it's going to make you money or not, just create, because not only are you inspiring other people, but you're also, you know, you're feeding that that part of yourself that needs to express itself. And who knows, like if you keep on doing what you love without the constraints of having to monetize them, maybe one day you will get paid for it. You know, that happens all the time. So just keep doing what you love and make time for it. And I think I've just about covered everything. So thanks for watching. And if you like this video, then hit like. If you don't like it and you think I've rambled too much, then you can hit dislike. I'm okay with that. And please subscribe and leave me a comment to let me know what you think. What are your favorite creative outlets? And for anybody who is a life traveler like me, how do you manage to, you know, what do you find is a good creative outlet when you're on the road? All right, see you later. Bye-bye.